Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So today we are very grateful and fortunate to have the association of His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. Maharaj was initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1973, and Maharaj is very well known for his passion for art, and he has written and directed many theatrical performances through which he presents Krishna consciousness, and these dramas are presented all over the world and appreciated by devotees and other communities. Also, Maharaj is very famous for his pedestrian pastimes, which I think he only performs. He has done the wonderful feat of, going through Canada 4 times, and he started his first walk in 1996 as an offering to Srila Prabhupada in his centennial year. And also he does this first time in Fiji, Mauritius, and many parts of the USA. Also, Maharaj is having responsibility as a GBC. He is basically based in Toronto, Canada, and he is having the responsibility for North Zone, which includes some parts of USA and whole Canada. And also we are very grateful to Maharaj that he visited in Ujjain and during last GBC meeting in 2017, where he enlivened all the devotees through his wonderful dance and his magical appearance. And at this most needed moment, Maharaj has kindly agreed to give us solace and strength through his wonderful instruction, through which we can understand the mood of his spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada and serve in this glorious moment. So we are very, very grateful to Your Holiness. Let us welcome His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj and express our gratitude by one time loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra with raised hands. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhakti Swami Maharaj ki.
So Chitta Hare Krishna Das, correct? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you.
Right. Okay, good. I can be heard all right. Thank you so much for this great opportunity. I am totally honored and to be part of this presentation and to share in some of the grieving that devotees are going through and whatever challenges may also come along with what you're experiencing. I'm talking to the Ujjain group, correct? I remember my last visit there, and it's when we had our interim meetings, I believe, and we were having fantastic japa sessions, and everyone was going gun gun around the temple like we were, so many of us. We were having such a jolly good time chanting and keeping up the pace and so on like that. Good. So I understand that we'll be doing some questions near the tail end of this presentation. So first of all, again, thank you. And we'll start off Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militanyena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So I'm sitting in a room here in Toronto, Canada, where Srila Prabhupada spends some time in the summer of 1976. And I have behind me a bust of Srila Prabhupada done by a great artist who would teach at Oxford University. And above him is a picture of our deities of black watercolor of Shishi, Radha, Kirchur, Gopinath, which are the presiding deities at our temple here in Toronto. It's a fair-sized building. It was once a church run by a Protestant organization, and they moved to the suburbs. So the church was up for sale in 75. And then Prabhupada had a look at it and he liked it. And he said, yes, this will suit our purposes. So then we worked hard to acquire it. And now we have this beautiful building in the downtown of Toronto. Good. So I would just like to share with you some of my personal experiences with Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And we can also talk a little bit about what it means at this stage of the game, after his departure and his, he merging in, or entering into his Samadhi. So first of all, as was mentioned, I like to do these dramas for the pleasure of the devotees. Bhakti Charu Swami had come to see some of them, especially at our, when we did presentations in the Samadhi auditorium in Mayapur. And so I do this every year just prior to the Gaur Purnima festival. And one year, Bhakti Purushottam Swami had asked me, why don't you do a play about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? I mean, we're in his land. Oftentimes there's a tendency to take an extract from the Ramayana or the Mahabharata. But what about Chaitanya or Gaura Leela? I said, okay, Maharaj, I'll take up your offer. So I wrote something which lasts, performance-wise, duration is about 1 hour. And I called it Panchatattva. And this play details how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met with Nityananda, who met with Advaita and Gadadhar, the Panchatattva, the 5 famous personalities, and how they became united in some way. It was a real fun experience. And then, to try to get the casting together, some of our boys from Canada came, so I knew I could work with them. And then I would look to taking help from some local chaps as well, who, whether they had experience or not, it didn't matter. I'll take anybody and I'll try to shape and mold them in some way. And that's the way it usually goes. So the play went on, and the drama Panchatattva highlights a lot of the good stories about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, including Jagai and Madai. And Jagai and Madai, as you all know, they came from a Brahminical background, good families, but they went bad. They turned bad or turned sour, and they became womanizers, criminals of many different sorts and kinds. And they were plagued by Pragosh from Ireland and Ganga Das from Italy. And they did, can I say, they did a damn good job. They did a great job. So at one performance, we put it on several times. I didn't have a chankazi, so I figured maybe I'll just do it. I'll take a crack at it. And so I brought with me from Canada some crepe hair, and you cut it, and you shape and form it, and you apply it to your face and your mustache area. And I was kind of proud of the work that I did on myself. You apply it with something called fear gum, which is a kind of glue. And then I knew how to put on a turban because I have Punjabi friends. Okay, so I knew how to take a long strip of cotton cloth, the size of a sari length, and then put it all around in different ways. And so you wet it a little bit, and you shape it, and so on like that. And then I had a kind of a lungi on for the bottom garment. And so anyways, I entered on the stage. Bhakti Charu Swami is watching. And I came to disturb the kirtan that the devotees were portraying on the stage. I came very coolly, very subtly onto the stage. And then passionately, I grabbed this mridanga, which was made to be demolished, and I crashed it on the floor on the stage. And the effect that we wanted came about. People were shocked. I think they were shocked to see Bhakti Swami acting as Changazi, and also more so with the mridanga just breaking up like into millions of pieces right on the stage. And then my voice was quite boisterous and loud, and so on like that. So everything went pretty good. Everybody liked the performance. And then I had a chance to sit down with Bhakti Charu Swami, and he said, "Oh, okay, it was quite good. It was quite good, but you look more like a Sardarji, like a Punjabi guy, as opposed to a Muslim leader." And so, okay, Maharaj, next time I do a production, when I want to get down to details for the performance, I'll consult with you. So sometime later, I wrote a play about the pastimes of King Chitraketu, which is found in the Bhagavatam. And the story calls for many queens, one king, Narada Muni, and Agastya Muni. Not too many characters, just lots of queens. And I wasn't sure how I was going to pull that one off. I had to get many saris and many ladies to play the roles of the multiple wives of King Chitraketu. It opens up really nice with a kind of a yoga dance that they do together, like a morning ritual. But before I wrote the script, I wrote it with the intention of having one of our African devotees who's exceptional, his name's Jambavan, to play the role of the court jester, a humorous person who would cheer up any old king. So Chitraketu is sort of downtrodden. And I asked Bhakti Charu Maharaj, so Maharaj, I'm looking into some of the books of the past that go way before the Gupta period. And I'm wondering what a jester might look like. And then Maharaj said, well, he'd have lots of colors. He'd probably be a little on the big side. And he'd probably have a jolly demeanor. And he'd have all kinds of colors. He'd wear all kinds of different colors. And I thank Maharaj for that guideline. That's kind of what I had in mind anyway. Somebody who's very extroverted, somebody who's outgoing and a little bit flamboyant, that kind of personality. And so Maharaj was very kind to help me with that. And the play went off so well. It was there were really magical moments. And so now so Maharaj had helped me in that area. Another thing that I like to do is and many of our senior members, God brothers, have expressed concerns about the kirtans that are conducted in our temples worldwide, and along the lines of, say, like some devotees are chanting, like Radhe, 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 things that we don't do in our Gaudiya tradition, and even to the point of Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, which Prabhupada didn't do. So I decided that I would establish a Kirtan standards seminar, which goes for about 6 hours. And that seminar would basically present the guidelines that Prabhupada has given to us. I believe that there is some room for flexibility, especially when you're doing some outdoor kirtan. But it's good to at least know what are the standards that are established by our acharyas and by Srila Prabhupada. So I did my research and I got help. And I've been doing these presentations at different locations. So I wanted to present samplings of really good kirtan or bhajan that's done in a traditional way. And it's very hard actually to find that in like a public venue where they sell music. And I had a habit of going for CDs, at least in those days. And but I came upon Bhakti Charu Swami's outstanding recording of the traditional Gaudiya Vaishnava songs. And I found that his voice was beautiful, extremely soothing, calming, and of course he had all the melodies down so well, like nobody else, because he was raised in that tradition, and nobody else really amongst our leaders has that same kind of background. And at least it's my opinion that the Bengali tunes and melodies are the best in the world. It doesn't match any, doesn't even come close. The other day I was in the dental appointment. I had to get a bridge done. My teeth are a little bit odd. And I had to spend almost 2 hours listening to the 20 top pop songs of today. And it was excruciatingly painful to go to listen to that while the dentist was doing his work on my teeth. So, but really deep in my heart, I believe we have the best tunes and the best melodies that music could find. And so I incorporated it into the presentation, Bhakti Charu Maharaj's voice, because nobody else could match it. Then there was another time, I think we were in Mumbai, and I consulted with Maharaj on another issue to do with Kirtan. And this was in the month of Kartik, I believe it was Mumbai. And I had asked Maharaj, tell me, I know that there's 2 melodies that we use in the month of Damodar to glorify Lord Krishna. And there's one that I know that I think is the traditional one. And then there's another one that devotees more commonly use. So could you clarify which one is the melody? And of course, I sang it out for him, said, the one that is commonly done, Namang Ishvaram Satchit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. And it definitely has a beautiful, almost haunting quality to it. And then I sang for Maharaj the one that I knew initially, Namang Ishvaram Satchidananda Rupam Lasakunalam Kule Brajaman. And then Maharaj told me that this one I just sang was the traditional one. And I said, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for clarifying this, because I like that one better. And whenever I'm asked to lead that song to honor Damodar, Lord Krishna, I'll sing that song. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Really appreciate it. So I would say that whenever I'd see a Bhakti Charu Swami, if we were eating together or just had a few minutes, maybe at a GBC meeting, he would just kind of like lean over a little bit to me and said, "How's Vishwakarma doing?" And so, who's Vishwakarma? Well, Vishwakarma is one of Prabhupada's disciples, Canadian devotee who was the temple president, vice president when I joined. And he's a very outgoing type of devotee. And Bhakti Charu Swami was asking simply out of concern how he was doing, because he was very much in the forefront during the 70s. And then because of family responsibilities and other obligations, he wasn't so active with the mission, although in his heart he always had Krishna and Prabhupada with him. But yeah, so how is Vishwakarma doing? Because I used to visit Toronto and I used to visit Montreal, and Nandikeshwar was there and he was so active. And how is Nandi doing? And I would just tell the best that I could. And it just, Maharaj's simple query was an expression of his heart. He was just very concerned for his godbrothers, because Bhakti Charu Swami had that strong feeling, very strong sensitivities, sentiments. And he was just genuinely concerned. He had this deep love, which I find is very prevalent, especially in with Bengali folks. And one of the reasons why I like to go to India is because it's not so much, I do not care for the traffic, I do not care for the trash and the noise, and I think most people will understand what I'm talking about. But I like to go to India because of the nature of the people. They're of a loving kind, you know, and that's across the board, especially people of a Hindu background. So Maharaj was the epitome of that kindness, and he would ask about these devotees. He would be missing their association, and in his heart he would appreciate what they had done for Prabhupada and the mission. Another thing that was always a big concern for Bhakti Charu Swami was to establish for ISKCON the vision that Prabhupada is the principal guru for everyone. So he started seminars which would help devotees appreciate Prabhupada's unique preeminence in this world, in the ISKCON movement. He took the time out to do that. I mean, he did other seminars like the Vaishnava Etiquette Seminar, and he did that so well. But this one was of great concern for him. And he was, let's say, he was thinking that after many of us go and pass on, will Prabhupada be really in the background? Will he be marginalized? Will he be, let's say, will things be diluted in terms of our attention to Srila Prabhupada as the generations go on? And that was also a sort of a pet project for me too, that I always was very concerned. I was raised a Catholic, so for us Jesus was the be-all and our link to God. And so I always felt that Prabhupada is our Jesus, and that if we don't establish a way, a mechanism, or the tattva, the truth of what is the real meaning of Sanstapakacharya, then Prabhupada would be forgotten. He would be not known or very much in the background. So those were the kind of talks. I had 2 serious talks with Maharaj about that. And the last time when I came to do some drama at the Pune temple when they had that big, largest gathering of students, together in one place. I think they were trying to get the Guinness Book of Records. And I was asked to do a play there. So while there, I had a chance to see Maharaj on the veranda of the Pune temple. And I just asked Maharaj, what are we doing? What's, of great concern? What can we do? What can I do? And I know you're doing it, but what steps can we take? So, he was the chairperson of that year for the GBC, and he was very, very effective. So, we talked about that, and he gave me some assurance that he would do the best he could to help establish Prabhupada's preeminence for this movement. And because it's my observation, I can see it very clearly that even though Prabhupada was with us not so long ago, I can see that he can be forgotten, and not in the limelight. So it was just something we shared. And Bhakti Charu Swami, to me, was like Bhakti Charu Swami. They're very personable. You could approach them. They have this love about them. A true sign of what is a Vaishnava. So that we have those kind of discussions. And when Bhakti Charu Swami came to Canada, I spent most of my devotional life in Toronto. And I remember at least twice Bhakti Charu Swami was talking about, shortly after he joined the movement in '76, Prabhupada was ill, his weakness was increasing, and at that particular time, Lokanath Swami had embarked his bullock cart padayatra event. That meant going around all over India, the countryside, to the villages where 80% of the population still lives, going to the heart of India. And Prabhupada was quite exhilarated about the program in his heart. Physically, not so much was he ready for it. But Lokanath Swami was feeling Prabhupada wanted this to happen, and that Prabhupada wanted to be part of it. So preparations were being made for that arrangement. And it was Bhakti Charu Swami who was telling us here in Canada more than once that this would not be such a good idea. Prabhupada's body is very delicate and fragile. And when you go down those country roads on bullock cart, which was what was anticipated for Prabhupada, that it was very bumpy and it was highly risky to do that. So Maharaj expressed the feelings of many devotees that this would not be good, and Prabhupada consented. He actually consented and agreed that, okay, then I will not do that. I will not go on the bullock cart and take that kind of chance. Just because there was that kind of pressure placed on him, and he conceded to that. I just wanted to say, in terms of Maharaj's chairmanship, I think he did an excellent job, because wherever he goes, he has that calming effect. He has that, let's say, a moderating effect, and people liked him for that. And where there was tension, like in New York, in Brooklyn, there was some challenges there, and he came in and like the gentleman he is, he offered that kind of tempering magic that is so much a part of him. And so we really appreciate him for that. And when I went to the Ujjain project, I think it was about 3 times I went. I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was amazing that Maharaj had built up this this magnificent temple with guest house and facilities for brahmacharis. And also, I had a chance to go and see the operations for the chapati making and so on like that. And I thought, wow, how he can do that? Like, snap his finger, overnight there's a temple, you know, in a place that I really know about. Other than I heard that Krishna Balaram had spent their childhood being raised by Sunny Money in the school. So I just say the qualities of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami is that he was just remarkable, outstanding, and he was very genuine. There wasn't anything that was, let's say, phony about him, in my opinion. And so he's an inspiration because of the way he carried himself. You know, he even had a graceful walk. He extended his hand out a little bit, so everything was quite gracious and graceful about him. You know, so it'll be hard to forget, and we don't need to forget such persons. We have in the recesses of our mind a memory or the brain that allows us to have good thoughts of people in the past. So I wanted to share with you, I wrote 2 poems about Maharaj since he passed away. And so I hope it won't bore you. I'll just do one, maybe explain it a little bit. And if I can get one of you out there to tell me if I'm going overboard with my time and we need time to ask questions or you need time, just let me know. So this is called Brother of Gentle Demeanor. And here it is. Oh, brother of gentle demeanor, I am your irrefutable junior. When I look at all you've done, nothing short of making that home run, I am humbled by your limitless energy. And now you leave us that memory of the absolute conviction to go where a target receives a clean throw. You aim your desires so right and anchor turbulence at a fight. You offer a calm where there isn't and subdue a storm you see as incumbent. You go out of your way to cook for us at no inconvenience and with no fuss. Last time you sat with me at Pune's veranda. It could have been anywhere, even Uganda. You took the time to comfort, offer assurance. When confusion prevails, you present balance. You are a gentleman so rare to find. Even ruffians in your presence become kind. You serve food daily to many, many children. Fill bellies, fill hearts, amounting to millions. Vast attention comes running to you, especially when you put Prabhupada center in queue and set the tone with finesse and manners at such time when inclusiveness matters. The world finds it hard that you're suddenly gone, like the sun that's up, then abruptly left for long. Jai. So that's my first poem. And it is just expressing Maharaj's nature, his demeanor, and that we feel a great loss. My second poem is a follow-up, and it, in a way, addresses how we should take this with our mourning, with our grieving, and also what's the follow-up after the grieving? After you have had a good cry, then what should you do? Where should you go? So I call this Warrior Saint. It's hard to fathom that it could be so, but warriors do enter and charge into battle and may not return, a matter of death and dignity. Because of the love lost, it becomes a tearful time with the voice of guidance now gone. An apparent vacuum exists. Something went wrong, perhaps. Loved ones become confused. No one can know the plan of the Lord. Emotions begin to play out, a welling of tears in the eyes, a wholesome outpour of feelings with friends, family around. A figurative pool of tears collects, leaving a surface of reflections, of two faces, of one grieving, a second, the one who died achieving. If you could look deep and hard, the warrior saint who achieved carries a magnificent smile, and with a nodding approval and directional message, he says, go forward, there's a fight to fight, there's a world to shake, there's a God to love, don't be disturbed. So my point about this play is that after we've had, gone through confusion, and of course it may still be retained, and after we've gone through a lot of crying and mourning, we may have to have a little hard look at ourselves, and we may have to reflect on, well, what would my Guru Maharaj want me to do? What would Bhakti Charu Swami want me to do now? Should I sulk forever, or should I go like a warrior, like he was, and march ahead? Go ahead and do what the world needs, which is to share Krishna consciousness. So I believe that when Maharaj came to America, it was with a warrior spirit. And I think that warrior spirit is very important to abide in for all of us, to take up the challenge against Maya, to take up a warrior spirit against our, let's say, iniquities, our weaknesses, our temptations by Maya, our kama, our krodh, our lobh, and fight it with strong sadhana and with our reading and staying in good company with each other. I believe that all devotees need to have good sangha, company, and also we need to have time, a little bit of time to ourselves also, so we can reflect properly. So the feeling of separation is quite strong. And I remember when Prabhupada passed away, I heard about it when I was in this building, in this room. This is the room where the temple president was sitting with Dharma, and another godbrother came. They were crying, they were weeping. And I was the temple commander at the time. I heard about it, and I didn't know how to react. Initially, anyways, I was almost in denial, but I was mopping the floor, and I just mopped the floor with greater speed and maybe not so detailed. I was a little bit haphazard. That's how I responded to it. But I did understand that I can't be totally caught up in my emotions permanently. I had a good cry as well. I realized that Prabhupada was a doer, and he wanted us to do things, to pick up the mop, or to, in fact, that's one thing. Bhakti Charu Swami came to one of our Rath Yatras, and I was sweeping the floor, mopping it in the hallway, even though I'm a sannyasi. They said, Maharaj, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm doing the Gundicha Manjara. Several times when we were at gatherings, he mentioned that in Cleveland, and also in New Orleans. He said, Bhakti Maharaj Swami, he was mopping the floor, and he was sannyasi. Said, well, I understood that from Prabhupada. You get yourself busy. That is what you do to overcome. Get yourself physically busy, and that way you get mentally engaged and occupied. And so a good share of our day has to be spent in physical activities. And then we do become, in fact, a little more upbeat. And that's the way Prabhupada was. And that's the way Bhakti Charu Swami was. He was very upbeat. And there are two ways to be in this world, upbeat or beat up. So you make your choice, you know. And I think what we're left with is the good memories of Maharaj and his closeness to Prabhupada. I think that's all very important for us to reflect on. So I would just like to say it is a loss, but it is also a gain when we reflect on what he left us, you know. And we don't need to harbor so much on what I've lost, because we can't take that greedy position. Krishna wants them back. Prabhupada wants them back. So we cannot say, no, he has to stay with me. You know, it's not about me. It's about Krishna. It's about the Supreme Personality of God. And so whatever has happened has happened. And I think that we have to take up this banner like a warrior and go out there and tackle the ills of this Kali Yuga. I am so taken aback by what I see is going on in the world today. How low we can go in Kali Yuga with the low life practices of people today. And it can bring you to a feeling of pity, paraduka dukkhi. And I believe that Bhakti Charu Swami had that feeling. He had a heart for people. And that's why he was so bold in what he was doing in a gentle way. I would say that he was like Prabhupada said it like this, that be a lamb at home, but a lion on the chase. So I think Maharaj had those two qualities. He was quite, you know, aggressive in a certain way by boldly sharing Krishna consciousness with others. And yet he did it in sort of a gentle manner. And I think that those are great qualities. So somebody was just giving a little instruction. Maybe you could put that little blurb out again. I kind of missed it there. So I'm just going to look and see what time we're on right now. Right, or 20 minutes to go, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. There are a few questions. Prem Rupa Mataji is asking, it is said that we should follow the instructions of the Guru to please him. I often wonder if he would think that doing dramas and making short films a worthwhile endeavor in preaching. He's always sent his blessings but never attended any of our shows. Do you think dramas and films would please him? And she also followed
Yeah.
a little question ahead was also, I don't know if this is a relevant, but considering the current situation with COVID, will you be coming to Mayapur and having a drama next year?
I'll answer the second question first. The second question is something I can't really answer, but I have a prediction. I think that many of our devotees, leaders, we have started Zoom meetings, online meetings, and the first one was just about 2 weeks ago, and it went with success. And I think that we're going to be a little more used to doing that. There's all these predictions about a second wave, third wave of COVID coming on really strong, and it'll probably be very prominent in India. So I think probably it won't happen. That's my prediction. And then hence I won't be doing dramas, but I'll try to film them and send them to you. Okay, so as far as dramas go, Prabhupada, you know, we have a history in our Gaudiya tradition of dramas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he he acted out Hanuman's role, Narasimha, Lakshmi Devi, and so on like that. Nityananda Prabhu, Krishna, they all enacted different pastimes, reenacting what was there before. Nityananda played the role of Lakshman, being struck fatally by Indrajit, and then, playing dead or unconscious, and everyone would have to figure out how we could bring him back to life again. So, and Srila Prabhupada, when he was in his college years, he played the role of Advaita Acharya, and his director of the play worked at it hard with his students for a good year before they presented it. Srila Prabhupada also encouraged the Vaikuntha players in New York. He arranged to have the money paid so they could fly here, fly there, and do this and do that. So he's very much a supporter. He watched the devotees in New York present Krishna kidnapping Rukmini. And Prabhupada loved it so much, these famous pictures of where he's sitting like this in a sort of a rocking chair, and he's smiling. And he made a remark after the performance was over. He said, "The play is better than the book." So you see, the thing is that I've had a lot of people come to me after performances, and I'm not claiming to be professional, but just a little bit devotional. And they come and they say, it's so riveting. It is so to see these dramas that we read about, or the stories being enacted as if it's really happening there before you. So I believe that what's on the page of the book has to go on the stage, the page to the stage. And we have so many wonderful, wonderful leelas and pastimes and adventures that deserve to be out there in the public. So I get personal satisfaction from presenting them. And if we look at personalities like Ramananda Roy, Rupa Goswami, and others, they were great dramatists. Plays were written, the Goswamis in particular. So it's part of our lineage. You can't deny it. And I would say that we have to present dramas and Sattvic dance forms for our own audiences, for our children, second generation, third, whatever. And if we don't, they will, in their teen years, they'll find good movies to go to and dramas and so on like that. They'll find it outside. So better to try to produce good quality stuff within our own domain so that children can be engaged. They have a lot of fun. The young people I work with, they all say, I have fun, I had discipline, I made friends, I learned about the story, I got closer to Krishna, and it brings the whole community together. There isn't practically a better service. So that's my answer to your question.
Krishna Maharaj, one question is from myself is Vyasa Devdas. Maharaj, we would be so much grateful if you could share that how did you came on Krishna consciousness and your first meeting with the devotees, if possible. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, we don't have so much time. So I was growing up in southwestern Ontario in Canada on a farm, in a farm community. And my parents were fairly devout Christians, Catholics. And so I always believed in a God as an incredible powerhouse, a personality up there watching over us with kindness and with concern. And so I used to go to church before I went to school. Not many people went, but I did go, and I enjoyed it so much. I felt it was very peaceful for me. Then I entered my high school years, my teen years, and like many of us do, we question, you have your hormonal explosions happening within, and you question everything. Whatever you valued before, you devalue, and it seems to be a trend. And the kind of culture in which we live, it's all around us, it's very Kali Yuga entrenched. So I started to have doubts and so on like that. But then I was trying all these things. I was trying partying and so on like that. So well, nothing works, nothing sticks, nothing seems to give that satisfaction. And so during my year of great pondering about Jesus and so on, I met devotees on a few occasions, chanting the first time. Second time I met them personally, acquired a Bhakti Godhead magazine. Third time, another Bhakti Godhead magazine, and a Bhagavad Gita on top of that. So I invited the devotees over to my apartment because they were like monks and I felt sorry for them. It was wintertime, Christmas, and they were kind of looking like they needed help. So I said, why don't you stay at my place? I have a fairly big apartment and my roommate is not there. He went home for Christmas. So why don't you come? So they did, they showed up. And amongst them was Vishwa and Bhakti Govinda Swami. I'm sorry, Bibi Govinda Swami and Satyajit, Justadura, and Drupada, 5 disciples of Prabhupada. And they stayed in my little apartment. And my friend had a marijuana plant in the window, and devotees were starting to preach indirectly, oh, that shouldn't be there. That should be a Tulsi plant. And then they were telling me outside my window, there was this ancient rock where they were drilling for nickel. They said, oh, this is very evil. There's a story in one of our books, they said, that where there was this demon by the name of Hiranyaksha, and he was pulling gold out of the earth, and it put the earth off its axis. And I said, oh, that's very interesting, wow. And the devotees told me they were vegetarian. I said, oh, that's great, because I thought maybe I should try that out. I was raised on a farm, and I never liked eating the animals that were born before our eyes and raised before our very eyes. So I took to devotional ways. After a few months, I decided I'd visit the temple in Toronto. So I did, and Montreal as well. And I decided that this is what I want to do. I'm happy with these guys. I don't care for their fashion statement. I don't care for the way they're dressed or their shaven heads. And I think they look kind of weird people, strange, odd. But I was captivated by the philosophy and the food and the chapatis and the puris that load up in front of you, and the family spirit that was there in the early days, the community spirit. And I was sold on it. So I had 1 month left to complete my first year in college, where I was taking fine arts. And I decided this, I have to do. It was a little frivolous, but I did. And so I joined in '73, and I never left. I've been a brahmachari all my life, actually. Hare Krishna. Hallelujah.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. There is one devotee, Pratik Agrawal from Surat. He is asking, there are so many personal instructions we received from Guru Maharaj. How to prioritize which one will please him the most, and this is the one I should be doing right now to please him. Thank you so much.
Okay, so that's yeah, you're very lucky if you've been given many instructions as to, and then a little bit confused. I would say that, well, if you have you can talk this over with a godbrother or a senior person. But what you might like to try is to look at what did Prabhupada establish as priorities, and then try to match it up with your own guru's directives. And that certainly is one approach that could work for us, But after you've had some experience with bhakti, with devotion, I think you should really be able to sort it out. A big part of our success in devotion life is time management. And like Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, I am time. So if we do our sadhana early in the morning and take in a little time for a little study, and you get that done, you set the tone for the day. And I found that Krishna will help you all throughout the day, your 24 hours will be assisted by the Supreme Personality of God Himself. Everything falls into place quite nicely because you have surrendered to Him in the morning. Your day starts with Him. So I think that prioritizing comes about quite naturally when you pay attention, first of all, to your sadhana, the chanting of 16 rounds, and observing the principles. We know that that was priority for Prabhupada. So it starts there, and then you have a foundation. When you have a foundation that's very strong, that's under you, then you can build walls, and then you can get the roof over your head, and everything will be just fine. So that's the sort of a general answer that I can give on that one. But the Guru sometimes gives fine details, and I think what's most important is the details are important. We sometimes say what's important is in the details. Fine, but get the foundation done every day, and then work on your details after that. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Madhusudan Hari Prabhu is asking that how can a neophyte devotee like me, who do not have many interaction and memories with our spiritual master, intensify my love and attachments to him day by day so that we can follow his instruction as life and soul?
Good. So nice question. I personally did not have a lot of time with Prabhupada. I never spoke to him. I was too shy. There were too many, big shots around him, sannyasis and senior godbrothers who were older than myself. And so I never had the chance to actually talk to him. I did cook my first dal for Prabhupada, and I think people like my dal, and I think that's because I'm blessed by him. But I would just say that, we've got guidance from him through Prabhupada's books, and we can certainly learn about our Guru through those who spend some time with him. I think the majority of our devotee community will not have spent a lot of time with their Diksha Guru. So therefore you have Shiksha Gurus. Shiksha Guru is important, if not, is as important, or if not more in some ways. So for many of you, Bhakti Charu Swami is both. And our ultimate Shiksha Guru is Srila Prabhupada in our society, in our movement. So I don't think it should be a point of confusion so much. You work with someone who's kind of your guide or counselor or your boss, so to speak, and just behave, and everything will fall into place so nicely. Just be obedient and be cooperative. Bhakti Charu Maharaj explained that bhakti means to cooperate with the Supreme Lord. So how do you do that? Cooperate with his devotees. Okay, so we may think, well, I should have this special tie with my Guru, but it doesn't work that way for most people. For most people, it's you're going to be spending time with devotees of your Guru, or devotees of another Guru in our society, and so on like that. So long as we understand and get a good grasp of what is right and wrong, and get a good grasp of what is common sense. Prabhupada taught us common sense. And I think that's when we will excel, when we use common sense and be quite practical about things. That's the way Prabhupada was. And I believe Bhakti Charu Maharaj followed in his footsteps in that regard. We can also get into praying and asking Paramatma, please, Krishna, please help me, give me some guidance during certain circumstances where I need. And after all, praying, Vandanam, is one of the 9 processes of devotional service that we must habituate ourselves to. So that's the way I would answer that one.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. There is one message from one devotee. His name is Uttama Sloka Prabhu. He's saying, please, Maharaj, visit Chicago. We missing your association. Love you, Maharaj. If someone doesn't have your Kirtan, they are missing a lot in life. You make energized whole environment of Krishna consciousness.
Well, that is so sweet for Uttama Shloka to say that, and I really appreciate it. And when I first visited Chicago, there was a temple president by the name of Uttama Shloka. He was a Canadian boy, and he was with a blues band, and he gave it all up to join Prabhupada's mission, and he's still living today. And so Uttama Shloka, yeah, well, thank you for those compliments. And we do love Kirtan. It is a great opportunity in Kirtan to surrender, to submit yourself, and give it all. And so that's what we need to do. Thank you. And as far as energetic goes, I think everything that we do devotionally must be released with a gusto, with some power. You have to push yourself a little bit. And there are three ways to move in the world. Either you filter life through Sattvagun, Rajagun, or Tamagun. So better to be enthusiastic, be sattvic about all that you do, whether it's kirtan, or giving a class, or walking for Krishna, or eating prasadam. Do everything with a conscious mind. And I think one thing that is going to please Bhakti Charu Swami is that we become a little self-reliant. We become a little self-satisfied, Atmarama. It's not like we have to be held, our hand has to be held all the time. After having gone through the practice of bhakti for some time, months, years, and so on, we should be able to make good judgment on things and just forge ahead and do something very conducive. Do something that will please him. Work hard. Yeah, work now, Samadhi later. You've heard that phrase. Work now, Samadhi later. Oh, I don't think we should relax so much, but we should just put out all our energies as much as possible. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for your association. And definitely this was after a long time for all the Ujjain devotees and maybe Indian devotees as well to have your association. And whenever you visited Ujjain, all the devotees had loved your kirtan and dancing and all these things. So we are missing many times your association in Ujjain. So we request from the deep of our heart that whenever is possible in future, please visit Ujjain to give us your association. And this was really nice for today for all of us, soothing for all of us, hearing from you during the situation, because many of the devotees were like, this was a sudden shock for all the devotees here. So this was really very much soothing for all of us. Thank you very much, Maharaj. So
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to say, I hope I said a few things that might be helpful in some way. And yes, I will accept the invitation. We'll come to Ujjain again in the future. I ask you one thing. You have to nag me a little bit, okay? You have to give divine nags, and then it will happen.
sure, Maharaj. So we would like to thank you by chanting one Hare Krishna Maha mantra from all of us this side by raising our hands. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj Swami Maharaj ki, Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai, Haribol, Haribol.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Haribol, thank you.